Yeah, what about, yeah, not very long. It wasn't very long. I know this one very well because my brother-in-law is the engineer for this company. He is the vice president of the company in charge of engineering for zip drive. I had so much fun with him. He hated me. Because I would go in and say, Mark, how much does a zip drive cost? He says, the disc? I said, yeah, the disc. He said, well, the disc, it's about $15 for a disc, but look how much it holds. It'll hold this much information on one disc. And I would go in with one of these. And I'd say, Mark, this is 10 cents. This is fun. This lasted maybe 5 years at the very most. It came in and it went out because this came in. Now, how many of you no longer have one of these on your computer? Yeah. The young guys again. I mean, I've got to have mine. I've got. Now when you buy a computer, you have to ask for it. Last time I bought my computer for home, I asked for one of these because I got data. I got lots of stuff. I asked for one of these, and they said, "You want that?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, we can probably find one." I said, "Well, how much will it cost?" $1. You know, they just gave me one because this is so old. This is sad. So we've gone from this to.
But there was kind of like a step in between, but it didn't last. You know what a minute is? You know, it's just like a CD, but.
Oh, the little mini CD.
Yeah, the little mini CD.
I should put that up because there was a little mini CD.
Yeah, but nothing happened with it.
No, thank goodness. I don't know about you, but when I go to buy a computer now, everybody says, "Just wait, something new's coming out." I never buy a computer because there we go. Check it out. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Anybody ever own one of these? Me either. You got a relative. Cool, thank you. The bottom line is that now we're here. Now, can you see how these have improved? When they first came out, it was 128 megabytes. Now, I've got to tell you, I just bought one with 16 gigabytes for $20. That's incredible. 16. And so I thought, I got to do better than this. So I went downtown and I bought one. It's about this big. It's a terabyte. It's a terabyte. And it plugs in the same way as one of these. It's a terabyte. Gosh, I don't think I'll ever need anything again. I've got a terabyte. Do you know how many movies I can put on that? I could put on, yeah, whatever. He knows. The bottom line is can you see how the revolution took place? The interesting thing is that these companies, if they did not evolve, if they waited too long, they're out of business. Maybe they're just out of business. I dare you to call Dell and say, "I want a 5 1/4 inch drive." It will not go well for you. Hey, if anybody, look at this. He's got a drive. Okay, he wants to sell it. You know, and frankly, I've been keeping things like this now because I know in 10 years. Let's put it this way. When it comes to music, remember the records? I go to my classes now, my young undergraduate classes, and I'll say, it all started with records. And they will look at me and say, exactly! They'll look at me and say, a record? What do you mean a record? Well, I didn't want to go back to the wax tube. So I bring a record to class and they look at this and say, what is that? And so I had to buy a little record player and bring it to class and play the record. And, wow, this is old, man. You must be old. I mean, they don't know what a record is. How about this? Now, some of you guys, I'm not going to point to ages, but how many of you in school use the slide rule? Remember the slide rule? Yeah. I don't need batteries. I can do slide. I was a killer with the slide rule. I can do anything. Remember the slide rule? I can do anything with the slide rule. And then I can remember in college, I don't want to give away my age, but I remember HP came out with these blocks called calculators. And they can add, subtract, multiply, divide, and square root. And you bought them because of the square root. You can do everything else on the stick, man. I'll tell you, I still have my slide rule, and I pull it out every once in a while and race my child on the computer. It's faster, but the bottom line is these revolutions are taking place all the time. They're taking place all the time. My question is, what comes next? I'll tell you what. I got a terabyte. Do I need anything more than a terabyte? I can't imagine needing more than a terabyte. But I know something's coming. I know something's coming. I mean, now on my computer, it's got all kinds of places for this stuff. But I had to ask for a CD drive, which I never use anymore, because I got a terabyte. I don't need a CD anymore. In fact, I can carry everything I own on that terabyte. Scary. What's coming next? Well, I can tell you, these revolutionary ideas, I'm not going to go through all of this. I'm just pointing to a few things. There's going to be internal disagreements. There will be disagreements internally. People aren't going to agree. There's going to be arguments. There will be arguments. And usually it's going to be between the marketing and finance people and the technical people. Because the marketing and finance people are going to say, our customers don't want it. Our customers don't need it. Our customers don't. And the finance people will say, there's no money in this. There's no market in this. And the technical people will be saying, it's a terabyte. It is the cutting edge. I just did a little forecast in this class. A couple of youngest kids, people in this class, don't have a landline anymore, so all I have is a cell phone. Maybe that's the future. That's the future. I've got to tell you, internal disagreements. There will be internal disagreements when I break you out in teams. And eventually I'm going to break you out in teams and everything. And you'll see the internal disagreements. Yep. Here's the next one. You want to look at the performance improvement. Because most ideas, when they first come up, the performance isn't going to be quite as good. But the performance trajectory is fantastic. Let me give you an example, and that is biofuels. You know, biofuels, when they first came out, they gummed up your engine. They were terrible. But they're getting better and better and better. They're improving. And if I were Mobil Oil, I'd begin to get a little worried. We're getting better. In fact, last year, when I taught the technical MBA class here last year, there was a student that said, we're Chile. In Chile, we have 3,000 miles of oceanfront property. We have the biggest beach in the world. If somehow we could bring up kelp or algae or plants or something from the ocean and could create oil from it, efficiently and effectively, guess what, man? Chile owns the world. It flat owns the world. Name another country with 3,000 miles of oceanfront property. There's none. Not where you are. And so if you can find the plants or if you can find the biomass to create, that's a revolution. It's going like this. It's going like this now. The oil companies have seen it, but they're not scared by it, but they need to be. They need to be. All right? Yeah, take a look at this. Biofuels going just like this. Where oil, little bit of improvement, but biofuels, electricity, wind power, other forms of energy. improving at a faster rate. I love this one as well. The first customer for a revolutionary idea is a different type of a person. They're typically an engineer. I look at your bios. A lot of you are engineers. When a new technology comes out, how many of you like to get it? I knew it would be you. Anybody else? Yeah, there's another one. Yeah, gotta have it. Gotta have the new. There's another one. Yeah, if I went into your home and looked in your closet, does it look like a museum? Yeah, and I know that because he immediately says, here's a museum piece. And you've got to have the newest and the latest. Last year,